Hey guys, welcome to the Rusty Beauty's garage. What should we work on today? This? No. Miata? No. My Spitfire? Soon. We're gonna work a little bit on it soon, but I need parts. The other Spitfire, I don't even want to say anything. This one? Well, this one is done. It's expecting to be picked up. That GT6 in the back? Yes, I wish I could, but this, that, all these cars are priority because they're not mine. My cars are not priority. Anyway, I think we should work on this one. 1970 TR6. I keep saying it in the last few episodes that we are getting it ready to go on the road, and I think we are almost there. I mean, we don't have tires, but I think just for a driveway drive and maybe a little bit on the street, we can get away with these. They are like probably 30 years old tires. And for a slow speed drive, just on the road here in front of the house, I think we're gonna be fine. This one loses air all the time, but it holds for a few hours at least, so it's good. But there's one thing before we put it together that I want to do, and that's the PDWA. Now, if you remember, on the last few episodes we dealt with the brakes. We changed all the brake lines, we flushed and installed the calipers and rear cylinders, and then we filled the system with .5 brake fluid, which is still holding, so that's good. But we discovered a leak from the PDWA, from the switch here. Here we have some other PDWAs, and just quick update on that. We kind of rebuilt our PDWA that's in the car, but kind of, because we took it apart, we cleaned it and put it back together, but we did not replace the O-rings on the piston inside because we didn't have them at the time, and I thought that they were gonna hold, but obviously they don't. Because how it works is we have front brakes, rear brakes, and they do not mix. Here in the middle we have a hollow space where the plunger goes, and if one circuit, front or rear, loses pressure, if it has a leak or something, then the pressure from the other circuit, when we press the pedal, pushes the piston in the direction of the circuit with the low pressure, and that makes this switch close, and that tells the light on the dash to turn on. So this piston inside has rings on it on both sides, and that should prevent fluid from coming in this direction or this direction. So right here inside it should be dry. The fact that we have a leak from the switch on our PDWA is telling me that we have fluid there, right? So now we have the rings. Actually, Dr. Carburetor gave us a few O-rings, so thanks so much, Elin. But we have to replace them, and to replace them we're gonna have to open the PDWA from here, take the piston out, change the O-rings and put it back together. That of course is gonna lead to a leak here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out the piston from here, we're gonna change the rings on this piston, and then on this PDWA we're gonna try quickly to take out one piston, put the other one before we leak a lot. Of course there's gonna be a little leak, but that's why we have .5 here, so we don't hurt the paint or anything. It's gonna be harmless, so we can just wash it with brake clean after that, and we're gonna be good. So without further ado, let's get crackling. That was loose. Not a good sign. Is there a plunger inside? There you go. Uh-oh, this is a different style. So this one doesn't use O-ring, this one uses a cup style seal. And these seals actually seem to be pretty good. But you know what, I'm gonna leave it I'm gonna try another PDWA because there are two styles. There's the older style was using the seals. At some point they changed them to O-rings, but also the plunger is different for the O-rings. I was told that the plunger with the cup seals also takes the O-rings. It works, but I'd rather see another one. We have a few of these, so maybe we can find another one that has the plunger with the O-rings. I don't think this one has a plunger. Oh yeah, it does. Well, it's too far to that side. Oopsie doopsie. Okay. This one uses O-rings, you see? However, the O-rings that I have seem to be a little bit bigger. Huh. Yeah, it's much bigger. That's not gonna fit inside the bore. Yeah, these O-rings are done, obviously, because it moves very easy inside the bore, so this tells me that these O-rings are done. Should we try with one? Okay, I'll change one and we'll try. Yeah, it's very loose here. Of course it's not gonna fit. Okay, let me check. I have a set of O-rings that might work, but I have the feeling that this is an MG PDWA and the plunger inside looks like it's bigger, so probably, since Dr. Carburetor is an MG guy mostly, probably these are from MG. I think he told me that these are from for MG. So we have two options. Either I have to find O-rings that fit here, or we're gonna use the plunger with the cup seals. Maybe that's gonna hold. I actually have a whole bunch of O-rings here. So let's figure out how big this hole is. Okay, this one is too big. 21/64 is too big. 5/16 is kind of there. 5/16. So 5/16 is 312 thou. This is 310. So we need an O-ring that's just over 312, so it creates a little bit of tension. That's 370. How do you measure an O-ring? Yeah, let's put it on and see if it is gonna fit. That's how we're gonna measure it. Yep. Oh, it actually fit pretty well. So you know what? That's what we're gonna do. It's nice and tight inside. So let's replace the other one as well. All right, I've been thinking here, how should we do that? And guess what I came up with? Nothing. So I removed the bolt that holds the PDWA to the bulkhead here, because I wanna like turn it a little bit. First of all, because this way everything is gonna leak down. And if we turn it 45 degrees, at least it's gonna have to fill up before it starts leaking. And second, because here I'm not gonna be able to reach inside with pliers unless I use curved pliers, but I prefer to be able to see inside, so I wanna lift this end up. To do that, I loosened also that bolt there, so I can lift here the whole clamp now, you see? But I still have this one that comes up here, that's the front brakes. So what I'm thinking here, that's 7/16. I'll bring another bolt and we're gonna remove this fitting from here and we're gonna put a bolt. So first of all, that's gonna let us lift this end together with the brake line, but also it's gonna prevent all this from leaking out. It's probably gonna leak from the rear brakes because that's still connected. But anyway, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. I know we're gonna make a mess a little bit, but at least we have to make it as little as possible. Wasn't too bad. Let's see now if that's gonna move. That's not too bad now. We have access to it. All right, let's see how much mess we're gonna make here now. I pre-loosened it when it was still bolted. Remember to do that. So now it is easy to take it apart. So I have a set of pliers here ready to go. How come it's not coming out? It's not leaking anymore. Good. Twist it more so I can see better. It's pushed all the way to the other side, so now I'm gonna have to try and slide it out so I can grab it with the pliers. Why is it pushed all the way to the other side? Did the pressure push it? Maybe. At least it's not leaking anymore. Like it's a cone at the end. How do you grab it, you know? Now, if we apply pressure to the rear brakes, that's gonna push it in this direction. The front brakes are disconnected. So, okay. Then I'm gonna put this bolt back. And I'm gonna go push the pedal. So you know, so you get the idea, right? This line is disconnected. The other end of this line is disconnected. This side is still connected though. So if we put pressure here, that's gonna push it out. You don't go anywhere, stay here. Of course, that's gonna make it leak more, but hey, it is what it is. Afraid to press. Did anything happen? Yes, it came out. Okay, and it's leaking like crazy. Okay. And now we should be able to put the switch on. Actually, now I'm gonna suck what's inside here because there shouldn't be fluid between the two O-rings. Let me tighten this and then we're gonna suck it and we'll see if more fluid is gonna come there again before we put the switch. And we're gonna leave it without the switch now. And we're gonna keep an eye on it to see if it is gonna fill with brake fluids again or not. I'm just gonna put the bolt again for a second because I wanna do this. And now I can take the bolt out again and keep an eye on the PDWA and see if liquid is gonna come out from here as we are bleeding the brake, because yes, now we have to re-bleed the brake. It is what it is. Okay, so I went around and I sucked. I suck. You suck. Anyway, first I actually topped up the fluid here, and then I went away, all the way around all four wheels, and I vacuumed a lot of fluid as much as I could. So I just circulated it. I used my little container here. So as soon as it filled, I went and I dumped it into the master, and then I did it again. So twice, two of these containers of each from each wheel I circulated, and at this point everything is new on this system, so it was pretty nice and clean fluid. As you can see here, it's nice and clean. And at some point, even though I didn't lose any fluid anywhere, the level here went down. So this means that we sucked a little bit of air out, which is good. So at this point, I think I'm just gonna test the brakes and see how it feels. And if it needs more bleeding, then David is here dealing with his camshaft. See a sneak peek on his video. So he might help me to do the old-fashioned way, the bleeding. And we were just discussing that we should invest. It's about time to invest a little bit in self-bleeding speed bleeders, he calls them. So let me see what the pedal feels like now, and we're gonna go from there. Good. In the last video we checked this brake booster and it was losing a little bit of vacuum, so I don't know how well that's gonna work, but we're gonna test it. So we're gonna plug it in with the hose to the manifold, and then we're gonna start the car with the pedal depressed, and as soon as the car starts and creates vacuum, that should make our pedal go down. So we'll do that test as well. And by the way, we have to test the clutch as well, because we never tested that. So I suggest that we do those two tests, and if we pass, then we put some air in the tires, throw a cushion or something in the car, and go for a ride. It's about that time. Alright, she hasn't been started in a while, so let's do a cold start again. Choke. Let's see if she's gonna start it. Oh, I'm gonna hold the brakes just in case to see. I have the hose connected. Let's see. Apparently she doesn't like cold starts. Feel anything on the brake though. No? So, well, actually now that I choked a few times, it became harder. So I'm gonna try again. So I have the brake pedal depressed. The brake drum fell off. What I want to check though is the clutch. So if we have clutch, we're going for a test drive. No, we don't have clutch. So, as I expected, the push rod on the slave cylinder needs to be longer, because unless we can bleed it a little bit, maybe we should try and bleed it. If it doesn't work well, then we're just gonna take the push rod out and we're gonna make it adjustable so we can make it as long as we want to. Because now I can see it's pushing the arm, but it is very little. It needs to be pushed more. Okay, so David helped me bleed it, and no air came out, so it was bled pretty well, and there's no change after we did it. So what I think is happening is, like, we have this backlash here that is way too much. You see, from here to here. I'm gonna take out the push rod and I'll show you what we're gonna do to make it adjustable. We also went around while he was in the car and helped me with the clutch. We decided to bleed the brakes as well, and the front ones bled perfectly, no problem, no air came out at all, so they were pretty well bled. The rear ones though, they don't work at all. So he has his foot on the pedal and I open the bleeder, nothing comes out, and other than by gravity. And also, as he has the foot on the pedal, I can spin the wheel. So the rear brakes don't work for whatever reason, but when I bleed them with the vacuum pump, fluid is coming, so I'm sure they're bled well. The problem is probably in the master cylinder, so we were discussing I'm probably gonna have to bleed the rear end here, the front end of the cylinder, which is responsible for the rear brake. So we're gonna take this out, we're gonna put a hose that goes directly inside back, and we're just gonna keep pressing the pedal until hopefully it bleeds itself. And then of course we're gonna have to bleed one more time the rear brakes, but we're gonna have to do that. Anyways, for now we have front brakes, and I think that's good enough for now, and let's deal with the clutch. Okay, I took it out, and this actually is a push rod from a master cylinder, and I extended it. It was only up to here, but I extended it with this part. Now my idea is to cut it from here, well, this coupler nut, I think it's called, here, and make threads here, and then I can just extend it and make it as long as I want to, and then have a gem nut here to lock it. The thing is though, this is 5/16 threads, which is 312 thou, but my rod here is a little bit under 300, it's 280 thou, but luckily the rod that I used is a little bit thicker, so it is 305 thou, so it's still a little bit under, but it is more than enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna still cut it off from here, but I'm gonna flip it. This is where we're gonna do the threads, and this, on this end, we're gonna machine this tip, which I have no idea why we need to have this, but I made it last time, so I'm gonna do it again. All right, I cut the threads on this side because it was easier to hold it on the vise before I cut it. So now we can cut it, but just so we can make sure we have enough threads here, plus a gem nut, so in its shortest version it's gonna be as long as it is right now, which is 6 inches from one end to the other. That's how much the original one is. So in its shortest version it's gonna be 6 inches, in its longest version I guess we can make it up to 7.5. So now I'm gonna cut it here, well, this part here, and flip this around. All right, so this is what happened. I made, again, I don't know why we have a groove here at the end, but I made it because it's on the original. So let's see how far we can go, even though I don't want to be holding only on 2-3 threads at the end. But when you put the gem nut, I believe from here it's good. So originally it was 6, now it is 7. So between 6 and 7 we can adjust it. So I'm gonna put it at 6.5 maybe, and we're gonna try it, and we're gonna adjust it under the car if we have to. 6.5. Wow, my eyes are like eagle's eyes. Okay, now I had to shorten it just a little bit because I wanted to have a little bit of play, like very little, because when I push the slave cylinder this way, that pushes a lot of fluid back into the master cylinder, and now we have a lot of play. But then if we go and press the pedal, I'm gonna do that with my hand from here. So you see the first time it goes all the way to the bottom, but then the second time, this is where it stops. So we want, from that natural position, to have a little play here, which we still don't have now. So I'm gonna loosen this and shorten it a little bit more. That's too much now. I'm gonna press the pedal again, or that maybe naturally comes back. Anyway, we have a little bit of play. You know, I'm just gonna test it like that, and we'll see how it works. And we're gonna just keep playing with it until we're happy. When we start driving it, we're gonna make sure the clutch is not slipping, and in the meantime, we don't want to grind the gears. So here we go. We have an adjustable push rod. Now we have pedal. Maybe a little bit longer I have to make it, but let's try. Actually, it's good like that. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I lost my drum again, I know.
Remember your vice grip garage when it spun across the garage?
Yeah. I was always wondering why do they need those screws there? Because like you always have the wheel, right? Well, not always. Well, we have half brakes, we have front brakes, we have clutch, we have gears. So, you know what that means?
Milk crate?
Milk crate. We already have something inside. That's gonna be our driver's seat. We are going for a ride for the first time in I don't know how many years. The last time I drove this car, it was just a frame. So let's see if we can drive the actual car now. All right, so she's back on the ground. Tires are pumped up. They're, like I said, really bad tires, very old. So we're gonna be careful, we're gonna be gentle on them. We're not gonna go too fast anyways. We don't wanna go crazy on her. But yeah, she's ready. And we've been optimistic. David already cleaned up the path here and he's going to move his car. So obviously he thinks that we're gonna make it that far, which I believe as well. One thing I'm curious to find out, and maybe actually it's a good idea to do that now, I want to see if the suspension is going to saddle a little bit as we start driving it, because it's never been on the road after we rebuilt the suspension a few years ago. And as some people said, I tightened the bushings when the suspension was hanging down, right? It was on jack stands. So maybe that's the reason why she's so tall, but we'll see. So you know what? Before we go anywhere, I'm going to measure the height to the top of the wheel arch on all the wheels, and we're gonna measure it after the drive, which again, you see how optimistic I am. We are going for a drive. Okay, front right is 29.25. Front left 29. So the left side is quarter inch lower. But again, she was just on jack stands, right? So maybe that's gonna change. Wow, 29.25 here as well. 29. Huh. Anyway, okay, I changed my seat for a lower one. That one was too tall.
That's a deep dish.
if my brakes fail, I have a hole there
Well,
for a
and
reason.
if you have a little bit of an emergency and a little bit of an accident along the way,
Exactly. I'm saved. Okay, let's see what's gonna happen. Here goes nothing. Which pedal was the brakes again? What? You don't have clutch again. Oh, I don't know what was wrong. Okay. The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round. What? Okay. My door is not closed apparently. It's fine. Okay. The wheels on the bus go round and round all through the town. Everything's rattling. Oh, we still have the choke on. Ugh. Okay. We lost something. Hold on, we lost something on the way. That's not good. I need that. But she looks beautiful. Isn't she a beauty? First time on the road in I don't know how many years. Okay, I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna test drive her properly with two hands, but so far so good. She was in overdrive, that's why in third she didn't want to pick up. Then I turned the overdrive off and it worked well. Okay, I'll bring you back. Whoa. Well, she drives great actually. I'm happy. She's actually driving really well. So all the gears worked, the overdrive worked, reverse, brakes, just the front ones, but fine. Everything is rattling, but that's another story. We're gonna figure it out. But yeah, she drives well. There was, at some point I lost some parts. I left them on the deck here. That's my cable for the
Oh yes.
speedometer cable. I forgot to tighten it, so it was dragging on the floor. But that's fine.
Yeah.
But the overdrive worked. Are you going to bed?
Night.
Yeah. All right. So, unfortunately, the rear end is still high, and the front end is still high. I don't know what's wrong with this suspension, but I'm gonna measure it now just in case. Well, front left dropped to 27 3/4 or something like that. But I'm assuming this is just because she was on jack stands before that, because it's still not a great stance. Front right 28 1/4, rear right below 29 now, and rear left 28 and kind of a half or 3/8, something like that. Well, we still have to figure out how to lower her, but anyways, I'm glad that she drives. Oh, I took her out again because I need to reverse her inside, so I just took the opportunity to take some more footage outside. She hasn't been on the road for such a long time, so how does it feel to be on the road, baby? I know it was windy for me because you don't have a windshield yet, so now we are into cosmetical stuff. Of course, there's little things like we have to figure out the brakes and all that, and the suspension height and all like things, but we know now that she drives, and she drives well. So from here we're gonna be more into cosmetical stuff, like installing the windshield, insulation on the floor, door panels, the rest of the interior trim, seats and stuff like that. We need to do some work on the soft top, and then we can install that as well. She has a hard top as well. John still has it. Bumpers, we have a luggage rack for her and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm so happy, and I'm sure John will be very happy as well. I'm gonna send him a short clip now, and I hope he's gonna enjoy it. So anyways, I don't know how long this episode is gonna be, but I can't wait to post it, so I'm gonna end it here. So that's gonna be everything for today. Thank you guys for watching, for commenting, subscribing and sharing, and supporting the channel financially via PayPal and on Patreon, and by even buying merchandise or sending me parts and tools. It's all really appreciated, guys. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.